Okay, after way too long, I finally figured how to get this thing going. This is the first live stream that I've done like this, where I've just sat down at the computer and tried to start things up and go live. Typically, I've scheduled these things, and the process to start it up goes a little bit differently. I saw there were a few of you waiting. Thank you for patiently waiting. And I don't really have any topics tonight or anything in mind. I thought I would just sit down. Hi, Andrew. Also, Moto Rick and James. Hello to all of you. I don't have much going on tonight. My wife and daughter are away. Hello, Christopher. Good to see you too. Wife and daughter are away, so I don't have anything to do on a Saturday night other than dial up the old TV shows that I normally watch. And I thought rather than do that, I would come in here and fire up the computer and just see how everyone's doing this evening and maybe try to answer some questions. Hi, poor boy FPV. Good to see you too. You're saying good afternoon, so it's late afternoon here, actually evening, 9 o'clock here in Ohio. And I was out earlier today working on some new videos, trying to get some things ready. I do have some things coming up that hopefully everyone's going to like. Aloha Desert Ranger, good to see you. Trying to get some videos done, get some things worked up that hopefully you're all going to enjoy. Good evening, Jeffrey Sams. Glad to see you from Kentucky. Thank you for joining. So if any of you have any questions or anything you want to discuss, just throw it out there. Robert, good to see you, or Robir. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Yeah, there are more HR Funk videos coming. Hello to Thor Cox. Thanks for joining. Hopefully all of you are doing well in this age of shelter in place and stay at home and all this other stuff that's going on. Evening. Also in North Carolina. You're actually closer to where my wife and daughter are than I am. They're down in Charleston, South Carolina right now, enjoying themselves on the beach. And I'm still sitting here in Ohio. And from sunny Southern California, thanks for joining Dragon Slayer, Chris Cars, and Old Spice 1 from Western New York. Thanks for joining. And 18 Wins again. Hello, glad to see you here. So I do have some regulars here. I wasn't sure when I started this thing up if I was going to get some of my regular viewers that were going to tune in or who might show up. Steve Detweiler, thanks for joining. Dale Kidd, thanks for joining from Canada. So I've got my first international viewer watching. And Christy McCary, I'm sorry. Hello from Wisconsin. It's been a long time since I was in Wisconsin. Matt R., hello. How are you doing? And for all of you that missed the little bit of an explanation I was giving a couple of minutes ago, basically I'm sitting at home by myself, bored on a Saturday night. So I thought I'd fire up the computer, try an impromptu live stream, and just see how everyone's doing. Again, if anyone has any questions, I kind of thought maybe I might be able to answer some things, talk about some upcoming videos or anything like that. Lonnie Porter, good to see you. Steve Detweiler, just happened to see while you were going through Starbucks. I hope you got a good cup of coffee. I got my Coke Zero here, so I'm prepared for just about anything now. Yeah, that was a Freudian slip. I think I'm going to have a sip of Coke Zero after that one. It might be a live stream before it's all said and done. Fletchman from Virginia, thanks for joining. And Steve Detweiler just finished the Delaware video. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a fun course to make, and there was a firearms instructor from Delaware who gave me a very detailed explanation of that course and some of the things they've got going on there. They are in the process of changing that course. And next year, Delaware is going to improve that course. They are going to add some time limits. And I really liked some of the shooting drills that were in that course, but the lack of time limits just kind of took a lot away from it, I thought. And one of the things he did mention is that is the state minimum, which we see a lot of times with those qualification courses. People at the state level get involved and they come up with very, very minimal requirements for those courses. And a lot of times at the department level, you'll see individual firearms instructors ramp up those courses and actually make them a little bit more challenging and a little bit more applicable for the officers that are undergoing training and qualification. And looking down through the comments here, Jim Furman just moved to Wisconsin from Western New York. Now there's a big move. Bought your first AR because you can now. Well, good for you. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy it. Next LE course coming up is Pennsylvania. And I'll give you guys a heads up on the Pennsylvania course. There are things that happen when you go out to the range and you set everything up and you're taking video of something like a qualification course that you don't find out until you get back home and start to edit. And yesterday was very warm here in Ohio when I was recording that course. And one of the things I've discovered during the time I've been recording these videos is when the cameras start to get hot, strange things happen. Sometimes they shut themselves off. Sometimes they do other strange things. Well, yesterday, with the sun beating down on my cameras, the one main camera that I use stopped recording audio. So I've got various segments that, and it was intermittent. It wasn't the whole way through. So I've got audio in some segments and I've got silent movies in other segments. So now what I'm going to do tomorrow, my project is to do a voiceover on those segments that don't have audio and try to salvage that course because it was a pretty involved course. There was a lot of work that went into putting that one together and making it into a video. So I really don't want to go out and re-record the entire thing on a cooler day. So I'm going to try to salvage what I have. And to any of you who might be in Pennsylvania, I apologize for that in advance. I was hoping it was going to be a lot better than I think it's going to be. And hopefully it's still not going to be too bad. It'll be a good representation, I hope, of that course. It's just going to not be quite the way I thought it was going to be when I started out to record it. Poor Boy FPV appreciates the content. You're welcome. I appreciate all of you for watching. Thor Cox would like my opinion on the 38 special versus 380 for carry. I prefer the 38 special. Now you'll find a lot of other people that prefer the 380. Truth be told, I don't know how much difference there is between the two. So much of it depends on shot placement. Shot placement is king and everything else is secondary to that. So if you have good shot placement with a 380, and I've seen people that have been that have met their demise as a result of the 380. Believe me about that. So I know it's capable of doing the job. But personally, if I had to choose between the two, I would opt for the 38 special, depending upon the specific type of load that we're talking about. Fletchman, good to see you here. And Billy P, can you do your police courses with old school snub nose revolvers? I've gotten one or two of them with snubby revolvers. I try to rotate the firearms around, excuse me, so you don't get bored with seeing the same ones over and over and over. You see, a plastic frame striker fired firearm every time over and over and over again. I think that'd get boring. So I really try to rotate those around so you get some variety and see a little bit of different types of firearms in those courses. Do I have any experience with HK firearms? A little bit, not a tremendous amount. I've never really gravitated toward HK firearms. I'm sure they're perfectly fine. The ones that I've shot have been perfectly serviceable. They're a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Clunky is what comes to mind, and that sounds pejorative, and I don't mean it that way, but it just seems like they could be refined a little bit more, and I tend to find other types of firearms that I prefer over the HKs. And let's see, where are we here? Pale Horse 20 from Memphis checking in. Thanks for joining. I'd always like to go to Memphis because I'd like to see Graceland. I'm an Elvis fan, so I'd always like to make it down there. Frank Van Dornis joining us from California. That's great. And I'm just going to go down through the comments here. Clifford Matushin, I appreciate all your work. Thank you. And again, I appreciate all of you for watching. Nicknamed the Florida course the Helen Keller course. I've heard that before. I tend to use that with the Ohio course too. I am not at all a fan of our qualification course here in Ohio. Let's see. Could you go over deviation in inches divided by range divided by 100? I don't want to do that this evening, but I think especially with me just standing here or sitting here trying to go over that, it's going to sound like mumbo jumbo. It's really easy once you start doing it. I guess I will give a little bit of a description of that. Whatever your deviation is in inches, and whether you determine that with a wind chart, if you're talking about wind deflection, or if you're talking about bullet drop, or if you're just talking about zeroing with scope, whatever your deviation is in inches, you divide that, and as always, in the parentheses, the range divided by 100 is the first thing you have. So let's say you have a 8-inch deviation at 200 yards. 200 divided by 100 is 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, divided by whatever your click value is. If it's a quarter minute of angle divided by 0.262, and that's going to come out to, so let's see, now I got to do it in my head. 8 divided by 2 is 4, divided by 0.262 is going to be about 15 and a decimal. And that's the way you do that. So it'd be 15 clicks to compensate for that 8-inch correction at 200 yards with a scope that's calibrated in quarter-minute clicks. Danny, Blue Lives Matter. Yes, they do. Steve Detweiler. Try to dub it like a kung fu. Yeah, so that's kind of what it's going to look like, because you're going to see me on the screen talking, and then you're going to hear the voiceover. So again, I'm going to try to salvage that Pennsylvania course. Old Vet, Brian Grant, thanks for joining. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that, about putting an umbrella over the cameras or something to shade them. I really need to come up with a way to do that to keep from having some of the problems that I do. Virginia State Police course. I believe I already did a Virginia course, and I'm not sure if it was a state police course or not, but I'm fairly certain that I did Virginia already. Maine AR, hello. Thanks for joining from Maine. Well-placed arrow beats a poorly placed bullet. Absolutely, I would agree with that. James Cotter, hello from North Carolina. Hello to you. Thor Cox, your wife seems to like a revolver over an auto pistol. I've known other ladies that prefer revolvers, and my feeling is if they prefer that and they shoot it well, more power to them. There's nothing wrong with a good wheel gun, and most problems can still be solved with a good revolver. Ben Crane, thanks for joining. Have I seen the Taurus G2S yet? No, I've not. And I'm wondering if you meant to say the G3C. I've not seen any of those new Tauruses yet. Steve Detweiler was shooting a friend's AR-15. Conversation went to a 22 with a cheap laser sight. It was fun and accurate like a BB gun, I'll bet. Yeah, clunky is the right word. Okay, well, I'll go with clunky then. Thank you, WFD Fat Man. Thank you very much. Are all your 1911s Remingtons? No. As a matter of fact, I've got, let's see, I've got 3 Remingtons. I've got the Rock Island Armory. I've got a American Classic 2. I've got a Smith & Wesson, maybe 1 or 2 other ones. So I've got several different ones. Yes, I am an Elvis fan from way, way back. And I would reveal my favorite singer, but all of you would leave and I would never have any more viewers again. So I think I'll keep that to myself. Newer post HK USPs are more ergonomic. I believe that's true. And I've seen some. I haven't shot some. I think the last one I shot was an HK USP. So it's kind of left an impression in my mind, but I do believe you. And from the looks of some of the newer ones, they are a little bit more refined than those older USPs. Fletchman and high power rifle. Does a good shooting coat really get rid of your pulse? Kind of. There are days that just, I'm not sure why. I don't know if my blood pressure is up that day or what's going on, but I'll still get a little bit of a pulse beat in some of the positions. So it helps, but some days it doesn't completely get rid of it. Frank Van Dornis likes the USP because you can cycle the slide with the safety applied. Well, that's good. And I don't have anything against the USP. And if it works well for you, I'm glad. Joseph Galehouse checking in from Tinker Air Force Base. He grew up in Smithville. All right, a Smithville boy. That's good to know. I've got an officer working now in my department who just not all that long ago got out of the Air Force, and he's now come back to Smithville. So he's working for Smithville PD, and I'm glad to have him. Good officer, very good officer. Let's see, Malbanius, Semper Fi, glad to see you here. He's a 1911 fan, but recommend Glock 19s to non-gun people. And I understand why you do that. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. Usually to non-gun people, I recommend revolvers. But if you're going the semi-auto route, Glocks are about as simple as you can get. So I understand why you do that. And let's see, this is jumping around a little bit here, so I'm going to try to catch up. Steve Detweiler is in Texas. Good. It's been a long time since I was in Texas. There was a time that I spent down in San Antonio, but that's been quite a number of years ago. Thoughts on current state of affairs in our country? Oh, my. You know, I am to the point where I almost can't stand to watch the news anymore, just because it's a constant barrage of negativity. It's a constant barrage of just really anti-American is what comes to mind. Things that are taking place every day, and it's really hard to constantly look at that and think, you know, this is our country and this is the state that we're in right now. So it's very, very difficult. And wait a second here till I catch up. Comments are coming in so fast, it's kind of hard to keep up with. Danny attended the National FOP convention in Cincinnati a few years ago. I've never made it to an FOP convention. All lives matter. I agree with that too. Let's see. Hello from Las Vegas. Hello. Thanks for joining us from Las Vegas, RJL. And we have another international viewer, Susan Elizabeth from Toronto. Thank you for joining. New York police start at the 2-yard line, go back to the 25-yard line. And I've got the New York course. I'm going to be recording that hopefully in this group of 10 that I'm working on now. So I'll be getting to the New York course very soon. R Black says hello from behind enemy lines in California. I feel so bad for you guys who live in California. And I talk to people from California up at Camp Perry just about every year, except this year when it's canceled. You know, I listen to some of the things that go on out there and some of the restrictions you folks have. You folks, the ones in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, some of the other states like that, you definitely have my sympathy with all the restrictions that you have. Thor Cox, his son Teddy says hi. He's 2 and sitting on his lap. Well, hi. Hi, Teddy. Glad you're watching. Thanks a lot. Let's see here. Malbanius, if you shoot AR-15s, you really should have a CMMG 22 conversion kit. I went the other route. I just got a dedicated 22 rimfire AR, which is a Smith & Wesson M&P 15. And I shoot that thing. It's obviously not exactly the same weight and dimensions and everything as the full-size AR, but when I feel like plinking with a 22, that's usually what I grab, and it's close enough for what I use it for. Patriot Preacher 43, hello from a little farther south in Ohio. Well, thank you for joining us. Have you seen the shooting in Michigan? It appears the 9mm dropped the suspect after he charged her hitting his. No, I have not seen that one. Have you shot a Ruger P85 and how would you rank? It's been a long time since I shot a Ruger P85. I have shot one. In fact, I had a very good friend who carried one of those as a duty pistol for a while. It was a very solid firearm. It definitely worked. It was drop dead reliable, heavy as an anvil, but otherwise, it was a good fight. And for that day, back in the mid-'80s, it really wasn't even all that out of line. I'm not sure what the exact weight on, but probably was equivalent to, or maybe even a little bit less than something like a 1911. So I shouldn't be too critical of it. The one thing I really remember that I didn't care for was the trigger pull. The double action trigger pull, especially, was really, really, really long on those. Pale Horse 20 shot the state police qualifications in Mississippi with a stock M9 with a 20-pound hammer spring, and at the end, his finger was very tired. I'll bet it was. Simplify, I'll try to say this right. El Juano. Marlin 336 and 3030 made in 75 in good condition for $395. I would say jump on that. Yeah, absolutely. $395 for good condition, 3030, 336, absolutely. And again, try to bear with me while I sort my way through the messages here. Who's your favorite? Okay, I'll tell you before the end of the live stream. I'll tell you who it is, and hopefully you won't all abandon me after I tell you. Yeah, lots of people from the Buckeye State here. Someone from Finland. This is, okay, I'm going to try to get this right. Marsukai Vele. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but thanks for joining us from Finland. P85 is a good no-frills pistol. I don't disagree with that. Again, it was very, very reliable. That's the one thing I do remember about it. No, Prince is not my favorite. Although I don't mind some of Prince's music, but no, that's not my favorite singer. Watchdog, currently enrolled in an academy and will be starting in firearms in a couple of weeks. Should I stick with the Smith & Wesson M&P 9 that I'm comfortable with, or upgrade to a M&P 9 2.0? I think if you're comfortable with the original 1.0 M&P, just stick with that. If you have a good M&P, I don't think the changes in the 2.0 really are worth trading in that older one you have just to get the new 2.0. The trigger's a little bit better. There are some other upgrades, but if that original M&P 9 that you're using works well for you and you shoot it well, I would say stick with that. Videos got me interested in service rifle shooting. Thank you. You're having a great time. Good. I am glad you're having a great time. Keep it up. Stick with it. Service rifle shooting is a lot of fun. I've now been doing it for, I was just thinking about this earlier today, 12 or 13 years, and I really like it. And if you ever get a chance, definitely go to Camp Perry. It's worth the trip from wherever you might be. Someone, 12-pack 101 coming to us from Toronto. Thank you for joining. And have you done the Kentucky course? No. And Kentucky, I've got 4 courses that I still need to get. And Kentucky is one. It's Kentucky, See if I can get them off the top of my head here. Hawaii. What are the other two? West Virginia, which is one of them, and there's a fourth one. It might be Rhode Island, maybe. I'm not sure about the fourth one, but there are 4 courses or courses from 4 states that I still need to get, and Kentucky is one of them. Libra 7, Bursa Thunder 380, enjoying at the range. And Bursas have a good reputation. I shot one Bursa one time years ago, and it worked very well. So that's good. I hope it continues to work for you. Finland has very strict gun laws, so I've heard. And I know there was an issue there a few years ago that didn't help matters any. Again, that's unfortunate. Just like the folks in the country here, a lot of the firearms aficionados from around the world that are so restricted, definitely I feel bad for. I wish the good people out there could own firearms and use them for their enjoyment, but it just seems like the governments, both here in the United States and certain states and around the world, have other ideas. Sergeant Major Trapp, thanks for joining us. And let's see, saw the icon that there was a submission, so checked in. Enjoy the Commander 45 today. Good. And I really like that R1 enhanced Commander. It's got a steel frame, so it's a little bit heavy, but man, it shoots well, and it's got a great trigger. I think it's got the best factory trigger of any of my 1911s. Michael McGee checking in from Central Illinois. Thanks for joining us. Nope, not Bette Midler. And let's see. Impala T-Mech 81 outshot a guy with a Glock 17 using a Beretta PX4 40. And I keep having people ask me about the PX4. Sooner or later, I'll get around to shooting one of those. I never have, but I really see a lot of positive comments about them coming in. Marsukaveli was, oops, I just lost it. Was at the range yesterday shooting a 762 by 53R. Hot weather. It was hot. It's been hot here too, so you're not alone. I was out today working on another video, and it's up over 90. It was about 91 degrees here today with the sun beating down pretty mercilessly, so that was kind of rough out there today. What do you want to shoot that you haven't shot yet? Wow. And my mind just went blank. I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. I've been fortunate to be able to shoot a lot of firearms. I've had a lot of people loan me firearms, so I've been able to shoot some really interesting things, especially here the last year or so. So I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. Busta Malacca 1 was issued a 9mm Glock 19 Federal Hydroshock 124 plus P plus. Had an OIS, 3 center mass hits. Subject was an obese male. Bullets exited, 1 stopped. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. The one thing with handguns to keep in mind is the only purpose for a handgun is to give you something to use to fight your way to a rifle or a shotgun. They are not the best options out there for stopping anyone. So that's I'm not surprised to hear that. It's unfortunate, but hopefully the SXT will work better for you. Oregon's no picnic either, so I've heard. And again, it seems to be the East Coast and the West Coast, and then if you live somewhere in between, you have a better chance of not having so many restrictions. Portland is horrifying. Yeah, I'll bet. Would I recommend a left-handed shooter shoot a right-handed AR for service rifle matches? You're almost going to have to. There used to be a left-handed AR made, and I believe it was made by Stag Arms, but I don't think they're in business anymore. And I don't know of anybody right now that's making a left-handed AR. Liberace. Nope, not Liberace. Nicki Minaj. No. Maybe that might be my daughter's. I don't know, but not Kane West. No. Okay, I'll just tell you, it's Meatloaf. That's my all-time favorite singer from all the way back when I was a kid. So everybody can start singing Paradise by the Dashboard Lights or Bat Out of Hell or something like that, but that's my favorite singer. Old Spice in his day carried Smith & Wesson Model 19 357 classic revolvers. I love the combat magnums, either the Model 19s or the Model 66. The only one I ever had that I ended up trading was a 6-inch because it just seemed like the 6-inch didn't balance quite as well. But the 4-inch, 3-inch, 2.5-inch, love those revolvers. Like the older guns more than the modern ones. I like a lot of the modern guns too, but I know what you mean about the older guns. A lot of the older guns just seem to have more soul, more personality. And one thing, and I'll probably mention this in an upcoming video, I really like back in the day when the firearms had names like the Combat Magnum or the Trooper or whatever, and not so much nowadays where companies just come up with a model number. Like I'll just make a model number up, like the 326 or something like that. It just doesn't seem to carry the same feeling as a good name, King Cobra, something like that. Barrel length for the 40 has energy over the 45, be equal depending on. I understand what you're saying based on barrel length and velocity and all that between the 45 and the 40. Again, pistol rounds or pistol calibers, there's just not that much difference between all of them. Rabbi, thanks for joining us. Glad you made it, sir. Being from West Virginia, you must shoot that one with a cap and ball. I fired one of those. I fired the Ohio course with cap and ball revolvers. It was one of the first qualification courses that I did, and part of it was I'm such a not fan of the Ohio course that I wanted to see if I could pull it off with cap and ball revolvers. And as far as I'm concerned, I did. There's one question about the reload. I used a Chicago reload to complete that stage that required it. And I still get a little bit of debate back and forth on that video as to whether or not people think that really met the requirements of the course for the reload. At least in New York, you don't have to notify an LEO if you have a concealed carry pistol license. You don't have to notify anyone here in Ohio either if you have a license. The only thing you have to do is if you're carrying a firearm, you have to notify the officer. And if you're stopped for a law enforcement purpose and you're carrying a firearm, you need to let the officer know you're carrying a firearm. If you're not carrying a firearm, you don't have to make any kind of notification. And Ohio, it took Ohio a long time. That law has evolved. It originally came into being in 2004, and it took a long time for it to get to the point where it is now. And it seems to get a little bit better as time goes by, but it could still probably use a few improvements. My military job was a small arms, Colt 45, 1911. I'm not sure if you mean you were an armorer back in 1986 or what you mean by that, Libra 7. And Ben, my son, is joining us. So hi, Ben. Glad you're here too. Wasn't sure. I thought you were away getting ready for the wedding this evening, so I'm glad you made it. PX45 Storm is a great pistol, and I don't doubt that. Again, a lot of the things I hear about those are very good. Carbine Phantom just finished replacing the slide stop spring on a 30 carbine. Accidentally launched it across the garage. Doing the armorer's crawl. I can remember working on a lot of firearms in the armory at my former police department. And all of a sudden, one would let go. And like you said, for the next hour or so, you're crawling around looking for the thing, trying to find it. I got to the point where I kept a stockpile of spare springs. So when one launched like that, I could just get one out of the stockpile and put it in there and say the heck with it. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, already revealed who the favorite singer is, Ben, so you don't have to keep it to yourself. Rabbi, have someone trying to trade a brand new Colt Gold Cup. Yeah, I saw your comments about that earlier. If that was me, a Colt Gold Cup chambered for 38 Super, I would be all over that. I like the 38 Super cartridge. I've always wanted a Gold Cup. I think that would just be a tremendous firearm. Ashley Palmer, glad to see law enforcement qualification videos resume. Yeah, and I held off on those for a while. The ones that you've been seeing the last week or two, I actually recorded over a month ago. And because of all of the unrest all throughout the country, I held off on letting those go live because I had this fear that somebody that wasn't quite stable out there might see one of those, and all of a sudden that would push them over the edge. And the next thing, they would go out and ambush a police officer somewhere or something. And I really struggled with that. And it took me a while to get to the point where I thought maybe it's calmed down enough that I would go ahead and start to post those again. And so far, everything seems to be okay. Libra 7 got addicted to the Glock 20. Yeah, I would say you and a lot of people have gotten addicted to the Glocks over the years. And the Glock 20 is one of the few Glocks that kind of interests me, more for the chambering than the pistol itself. And we just took a big jump there. And I got to try to find back where I was. Danny, am I still working? Yes, I am. Tom Jones. Nope, not Tom Jones. Old Spice, that's what a wise old captain told me. Your handgun was good. Make it good to make it to your cruiser and grab the rifle or shotgun. Yep, you had a wise captain. I agree with him. Love the video qualifying with the Marlin 1894. You know what? That's one of those videos that I just kind of did on a whim one day. I thought, this might be fun. And I didn't really expect it to get a huge number of views. I thought, people will watch that. Some people kind of like it or whatever. And it's one of my most successful videos. That I don't know how many thousand views that thing has, but it surprised me how much people like that. And I still get routine comments on that video. So it's been a lot of fun. Wade Ransom, hello from Virginia. James Cohen, what wheel gun do you recommend to a new shooter that only wants home defense? For a wheel gun, for home defense, if you can find a good older Smith & Wesson Model 19 or Model 66, it almost doesn't matter the barrel length of using it for home defense, but that gives you the option to load it with 38 specials or 357 Magnums. They're light as revolvers go. They are extremely reliable. They're accurate. And as I said a little while ago, they're some of my favorite revolvers. So that would be my recommendation. If you can't find one of those, I don't know enough about the newer versions of the 66 and the Model 19 to really be able to recommend them. I see them routinely. Sooner or later, I want to get a hold of one to shoot, but I can't recommend them with any kind of personal knowledge yet because I just don't have any. Okay, well, at least I got a few other Meatloaf fans out there, so that's good. Libra 7 were the home for Federal HST, the Minnesota load. Good. And I like the HST. The HST is a good bullet. I've tested those. I tested them back when I was with my previous police department. I was very impressed with the performance of that HST bullet. I'm going to get lots of Meatloaf lyric quotes on here now. Albania says my favorite singers are dead. Yeah, some of mine are too. And let's see, two lucky gunners just picked up a Smith & Wesson Model 29 Classic. What's your favorite Dirty Harry movie? I think it's the very first one, the one that launched them all. I just watched that again not too long ago, and it's still a good movie to watch. I still enjoy it. So I think I'm going to pick the very first one. Steve Detweiler is looking at a Mossberg 930 18.5-inch barrel for home defense. A lot of places, even online, are sold out. Yeah, and firearms in general right now are getting very difficult to find. After I got done shooting and recording a video today, I stopped by a local firearms retailer, and their inventory, they usually have a bunch of firearms, and they're way down. Although, and here's a sneak peek, I did manage to pick something up while I was there, and that's going to be coming in an upcoming video. So, tell you what, the first one who guesses what it is, let's see, what can the prize be? How about one free shooting lesson with HR Funk? And it'll be worth everything you pay for it. But that new firearm will be coming up in a video review in the near future. And it's something a little off the beaten path. I think some of you might find it interesting, and might be a little surprised that that's what I picked out. Let's see. Have a 66-3 4-inch and a 686 and a 686-5 plus. Yep. I like the pre-locks too. I have, let's see, I've got a 66 3-inch, and I've got the 2.5-inch Model 19, the 4-inch Model 19. I've got a 4-inch 686 6-shot and a 4-inch 686 plus 7-shot. So I'm right there with you. Mine are all pre-locks, and they're all great revolvers. I think they used up all the good gun names. Maybe that's the problem. So now they just have to pick numbers. I'd like the Smith & Wesson Model 66 with a sleeve barrel. That's one of the new ones. And like I said, I really don't have any experience with those yet. I do have one or two Smith & Wesson revolvers that have sleeve barrels, and they work perfectly fine. So I can't say anything bad about just having the sleeve barrel itself. David Miller just saw this pop up. Thanks for all the videos. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Rabbi, okay, looks like he's talking to Dragon Slayer. Getting ready for your next service rifle match. Have you shot any high power lately? Yeah, I've been shooting a lot just about every weekend. In fact, I thought we had a match today, and then I got everything packed up and got over there and found out that it was canceled. So no match today, which is too bad because I was going to shoot my M14 and I was really looking forward to it. How's the ammo availability there? Ammo is kind of scarce too. At the store that I mentioned that I stopped at earlier today, they had some ammunition, but again, the shelves are a little bit more bare than they normally are. Chicago Reload, yes, same as New York Reloaded. Yep, same exact thing. Hey, Logica, glad you could join us too. And uh-oh, took another big jump there. Gotta go back and figure out where I was. And this really took a big jump, so I'm sorry if I skip past some of your comments. I'm just going to try to pick up here where I am. Cal Fork in his mid-40s, interested in joining law enforcement. Any advice? Well, mid-30s, I'm sorry. I made you older than you were. You know, with the way things are right now, the idea of a brand new person coming into law enforcement, yeah, I would love to be able to say, you know, go for it. You know, even at this stage of your life, if that's what you want to do, if that's your passion, definitely take the steps you need to and actually start the process. You know, start looking at some departments and things like that. But Wow. This is I've been a law enforcement officer now for 30 something years, and this is the most difficult time period that I've ever seen. I mean, going all the way back, the time during the Rodney King thing and all that kind of stuff. None of that compares to what we're seeing now. I mean, to the point where even in my small town, I get strange looks and odd comments from people. We even have a protester that comes out, with the sign going up and down the street every once in a while. So it's just difficult time to be a police officer. David Miller purchased Kel-Tec sub 2000. Fits perfect to go fit. Yeah, I really like the sub 2000. That thing, I take that with me all over the place. It's just so easy to carry. Mine has never missed one malfunction in all, I don't know how many hundreds of rounds, or maybe thousands of rounds by this point that I put through it. And I know I caused that malfunction, but it's just a really great, reliable firearm. I like my sub 2000. Ben Crane, know it's been done a lot, but maybe a video for being pulled over from a police perspective. I've thought about doing something like that. I've considered that, and I've always held off because the laws vary so much from jurisdiction to jurisdiction and state to state that I don't want to make a video and try to give somebody a perspective or a thought or an idea from the way things are here, and all of a sudden it's different from where they are. So I've always kind of been a little bit leery of that. Joe Palu, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It was an armorer with the 82nd Airborne. Cool. Just got back from Gettysburg. We went to Gettysburg several years ago, and I really enjoyed that trip. It's not that far away from where I live, but I'd never been there. And I'm a huge fan of history, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I liked walking the battlefields, and we did a tour around. We actually took a horseback tour of the battlefield. Got all kinds of information. I found that extremely interesting. Hate losing pins. Yeah, I know what you mean. John Grimm bought a Remington R51. Should I keep it? I'm keeping mine more or less as a historical curio. I thought about trading it, and I thought, I've got it. It's still kind of a unique design and an interesting firearm, so I'm going to hold on to mine. As to whether or not you should keep yours, I don't know. I hate to give you a recommendation one way or the other. Krembley Q, Iwakuni Soup Soba. It's been a long time since I was at Iwakuni, and the soba truck used to come around, and we could get that. Curry rice was the other thing we got off that thing. Was just fantastic, especially if you'd had a beer or two that night, and the soba truck would come. So good memories from back in the day. And let's see, I'm going to drop down through here. And David Kaler just bought a new Colt 38 Super Gold Cup, shooting it for the first time tomorrow. Good. I envy you. I was talking about that a little while ago. I like the 38 Super cartridge. My American Classic 2 1911 is chambered for the 38 Super. I like that a lot, but a Gold Cup chambered for the Super cartridge would just be fabulous. Let's see. You had a right-handed question. I'm dominant left, and I'm professional with both hands with the right-hand weapon. I'm not sure if that was for me or if that was an answer to someone else. Danny just retired on March 1st. Congratulations. Enjoy your retirement. And again, I'm kind of scanning down through. There's a lot of conversations going on between various people on here, so I'm trying to catch the next one that is going to be directed at me. David Miller paid $650 with the M Carbo upgrades. Would order one from M Carbo. Yeah, and from what I understand, those ones that have the M Carbo upgrades are really good. I've added a few of their upgrades to mine. Not a tremendous number, but a few, and I really like the ones that I've added. Too bad Smith & Wesson stopped making the 10-06. I agree. Too bad they stopped making the third generation pistols. And I keep hoping they'll bring those back, kind of like they did some of the classic revolvers, but so far we haven't seen that yet. Check out Hayes Customs Guns, Liberty Hill, Texas. Okay, if they got a website, I'll do a Google search on that and take a look at them. Magnum Force, got somebody else that's weighing in on the Dirty Harry movies. Doug Perminsky says, hello, Howard. Just tuned in to say, how's your track driving skills coming along? Day to day. I've had a couple of times lately where those things have been bobbing and weaving, and I haven't been able to whack them. But generally, I can get them most of the time. And again, I'm doing a little bit of scanning here. Libra 7 semi-wide cutter, jacketed hollow point, 158 grain, 38 loads. Great load, great track record with those. Shot in the 80s, plus P, extra 100 foot-pounds of energy. In fact, when I first started with my former department, the one that I retired from back in 2014, the officers that still carried revolvers, and this would have been circa 1991, were still carrying that the generic FBI load or Chicago load or whatever you want to call it. But good load. It's also very hard to find these days, and when you do, it's ridiculously expensive. Wade Ransom, been subbed ever since the word to fellow law enforcement officers. Love your kind. Thank you, Wade. Thank you very much. And again, I'm just sort of scanning a little bit here. What are your thoughts on the 10 millimeter for self-defense? I like the 10 millimeter cartridge, and for defensive applications or just general shooting, it's one of those cartridges, kind of like the 357 Magnum, that sort of whatever you need to do, you can accomplish it with that cartridge. I like the 10 millimeter a lot. Steve Detweiler traded his R51, was so disappointed. I understand that. Got the Springfield Armory EMP4, and he loves it. Good for you. I'm glad you got something you like. Doing a Pennsylvania drill? Yeah, you must have tuned in after I was talking about that. I actually recorded the Pennsylvania course yesterday. But I've got some issues with it, particularly with my sound, and it's not going to be quite as good as I hoped it was going to be. And let's see. Just posted a video on the YouTube channel. Should check it out. And I've seen some of your videos, Two Lucky Gunners, and they're pretty good. I enjoy them. So I'll try to watch that one too. John Doe just popped in to say, thank you very much, sir, for the work you put in to educate and entertain. And I appreciate you saying that, because I really do. When I put these videos together, I'm always hoping if somebody comes away from watching one of my videos and they feel like they enjoyed the experience and maybe they picked up a thing or two along the way, that's really what I'm hoping for in these. I don't know everything there is to know about every firearm. I don't know everything there is to know about shooting. And one of the things I like about shooting is it's one of those things, there's always something new to learn. So I try to pass on what I've learned. I've had the benefit of a lot of training over the years, a lot of taxpayer-funded training. So I try to pass on whatever I can. So I'm glad you enjoy it, and I try to make it as entertaining as I can. How come police moved from revolvers to pistols? You know, that would probably be a good topic for a video someday. It's probably a little bit longer answer than I can go into right now. That transition happened back from the mid-'80s till about the mid-'90s. And I lived through it. I was a police officer during that time period. So I could probably produce a video and talk about some of those. Maybe I could even do something like I did before, where I bring back my younger self and we do some dialogue back and forth. That might be kind of fun. Rabbi, in your opinion, what's the best first pistol for a wife or daughter? A good 22 revolver is what I would say. And they don't make them right now. I have a Model 18 in my safe, 6-shot Smith & Wesson 22 revolver. Absolutely fantastic for a wife or daughter. Get them used to shooting, teach them sight alignment, sight picture, trigger squeeze, all that kind of thing. Virtually no recoil to deal with, very little in the way of report. That would be my recommendation. And then from there, move up to the larger calibers after that. HR Funk, your video gear from CMP matches was very helpful. This year's match, yeah, I know the match was canceled this year, which is too bad. And Dan the Wolfman is joining us. Hey, Dan, how are you doing? Oops, this just took a jump again. I was just trying to read a comment. Using some of your drills and modified rifles and shotguns here in Finland. Good. I'm glad you're able to use some of those drills, and I hope they're fun, and I hope they're helping you out. John Ski, former or current law enforcement officer, what are your thoughts on the riots going on, police getting attacked, and what? We were talking about this a little while ago. It's just a sad, really tragic state of affairs in our country right now. I keep hoping that this goes away, it blows over, but it just seems like every day there's something new in the news. What firearm did you use in the Marine Corps? And what was your favorite event? Two primarily. The M16A1 was still in widespread issue, and I was in from 1985 till 1989. Then I got out. I was out for almost 2 full years. Then I got recalled in 1991, so I was right back in again for Operation Desert Storm. But during all of that time, the primary rifle that I was issued was the M16A1, and as a military policeman, the sidearm that I was issued was the 1911 A1. And even though the M16A2 and the M9 replaced both of those firearms that I was issued back during that time, it took years and years and years for those to make it all the way throughout the entire Marine Corps. So the whole time I was in, even when I got recalled for Desert Storm, I had a 1911 A1 and an M16 A1. Mark Becker, hello. Thank you for joining us. And again, I'm going to try to catch up here. What's your opinion on Full Metal Jacket or Jacket to Hollow Point for concealed carry? I would always opt for the Jacket to Hollow Point when possible. The only time that I would consider a Full Metal Jacket would be if I really needed penetration for some reason, because they'll penetrate better than the Jacket to Hollow Points. But day in, day out, I would opt for the JHP. Catch Jitsu, enjoy the virtual shooting, especially since COVID. Shot the Model 66 from 25 yards. The action on that revolver is smooth. I've said many times that's my favorite revolver. Love shooting that thing, and it's just a Cadillac revolver. It's one of those things that you shoot it, and every time it's just like shaking hands with an old friend. The bullets go where you want them to go, and I very much enjoy that 3-inch Model 66. Have you ever shot a Steyr? You know what? I have not shot a Steyr, and I saw one at a gun show. It was one of the older M9s a couple of months ago at a gun show, and it was a pretty reasonable price. I wish I'd have bought that thing. Just because I would like to try one out. I'd like to try those sights and see what I think of those. And Steyr's got a new pistol now. I was thinking about picking one of those up, but as I said a little while ago, I picked something new up today, so that's going to be the new handgun purchase. So there's a hint. It's a handgun. That's going to be the new handgun purchase coming up for a while. And again, I think you guys are going to enjoy this. I'm kind of excited about this one. Again, it's a little different. It's something not that you don't see real typically on the range. So I'm looking forward to this one. And let's see. Again, skimming down through here. Is there a handgun you've owned that you later didn't like very much? I don't think that I didn't like very much. There have been firearms that I've purchased and handguns that I've purchased, and then later on I found something that I prefer more or that I like more. But I don't remember ever having one that I purchased and then later on I just didn't like it. You know, I've traded a lot of them, and like so many people, I've traded firearms and then later on regretted trading them and wished I still had them. But nothing comes to mind that I purchased and then I just didn't like. You know what? I take that back. There was one. There absolutely was one. And in fact, I made a video on it. It was the FN Model 509. I thought I was really going to like that pistol. I was excited. I bought it at a gun show. I brought it home. I did a video on it. I got out at the range and I just didn't like it. And the big thing I didn't like about it was the trigger. And I ended up trading that one pretty quickly. And let's see. 2020 Colt Python was disappointing. And I've not handled or shot one of the new Pythons, so that's still something I want to try out one of these days. Smith makes a 22 long rifle, model 618. Yeah, they are expensive. I had a 617 once upon a time. It was a nice revolver. It was a 10 shot, but I really prefer the model 18. I wish they would bring that one back. Two lucky gunners, thank you for your service. The honor is all mine. What firearm or firearms did you use when you were in the Marine Corps? I think I answered that one already. I think that must have come back around somehow. Joe Palou lost your 45 in 1985 or 86 to the 9mm. Yeah. And I know a lot of people did. I was fortunate. The whole time I was in the Marine Corps, I had my 1911 A1, and I was happy to have it. Ever trained or used the Mantis X? Yes. As a matter of fact, I have used the Mantis X. In fact, I made a video on that several years ago. It's still up. If you do a search, you should be able to find it. Guacamole, congrats on losing so much weight. Thank you. David Miller was a Ranger, 75th Scud Busters with the Brits. Well, thank you for your service, David. Who was your least favorite president? Wow. Got to be Barack Obama. Although Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. And Bill Clinton. Oh, geez. Steve Detweiler, not the Hellcat, did a review on the Hellcat. Yeah, I did do a review on the Hellcat. I really like the Hellcat. I like it a lot. Doberman 45. Glad I could catch you one on live. Thanks for the great content. Favorite old school mouse gun. Old school. It's not much of a mouse gun. It's 9mm. Some people would call that a mouse gun, but I'm going to say for my favorite would be the P35 high power. Fabulous old pistol. You carry a backup gun on duty regularly. 38 or the Hellcat. Actually, it's my Model 342, which is the titanium frame or titanium cylinder, aluminum frame 38 revolver. Mark Elfriend, Still with you and still love the channel. Thank you, Mark. Any experience with the Ruger American pistol? No, unfortunately, I don't have. And I thought about that too, because lately I've been on kind of a Ruger, binge, I guess. And I thought about a Ruger American pistol, but I haven't tried one yet. Mark Becker says you'll be impressed by the Steyr. I keep hearing that. I keep hearing people tell me that I'm going to be impressed by the Steyr, and I really do want to try one out one of these days. Miss your Colt Trooper. I had a borrowed Colt Trooper that I used for a qualification video, and I really liked that revolver. That was a lot of fun. Do you have a must-have firearms recommendation? Got to be a 1911. Pick the one you like the best, but it's got to be a 1911. Ruger Security 6 4-inch barrel. A friend of mine had one of those years ago. Actually, you know what? His might have been a Service 6. I don't remember now. But it was one of the Ruger revolvers that was a pretty nice revolver back in the day. David Starr, you're welcome. H.R. Funk, that revolver to pistol transition should have happened in the 1920s during Prohibition. I think to a degree it did. That's back in the day when the 38 Super first came into being, and the 1911 chambered for 45 also. Of course, there were a lot of cool old cartridges back then. The 38 44 heavy duty, eventually the 357 Magnum coming around in 1935. So that was an interesting era for firearms back during the 20s and 30s. I nailed the 3 worst presidents. It's not hard to rattle those off. P35 has always been your hands down favorite. You have a good hands down favorite, Dale Kidd. I'm a big high power fan. Paul Woodall, my earlier right-hand comment was for you. No problem. No problem about that. Steve Detweiler, your brother kept his 1911 A1 when he was in the Army. Wow. If you mean that he kept it when he got out, first off, don't tell too many people about that. Secondly, I wish I could have done something similar. Where do you think this country is going? Second Amendment. You know, we've watched the country become more and more liberal as the decades have rolled by, and as we move farther and farther into the future, I worry about the Second Amendment. I worry about it a lot. I worry about my son, who's on here someplace, if he's going to be able to enjoy firearms the same way all the way through his life as I've been able to enjoy through my life. And same thing with my daughter. How do I feel about open carry? I don't have a problem with open carry. The only thing that bothers me a little bit with open carry is there are some people that will go out and intentionally try to provoke encounters with law enforcement officers. And I understand the thought process, I guess, behind that, but that's really not the best way to go about it. You know, if people see that and they get scared and they call the police and all that kind of thing, I guess my feeling is there's better ways to make the point with regard to open carry than that very provocative sort of encounter. So I would encourage people not to take that route. But as far as open carry itself, I don't have a problem with it. Lightweight titanium revolvers are bad because bullets jump to crimp. I've never had that problem with mine. And I've shot all kinds of ammunition from them. I've never had that issue. Any words on how best to show support to the local police department and sheriff? Number one, just obey the laws. Number two, if you have encounters with officers, just you don't have to bend over backwards to be extra nice or anything like that, but just be respectful like you would be with anyone else that you would talk to. Police officers appreciate that. They're not looking for special treatment or extra courtesy or anything like that. Just regard them kind of like you would your next door neighbor. That would be the easiest way to kind of convey that idea that you're supporting them and trying to back them in what they're doing. Don't you think 1911s are prone to stoppages, that it's not a question of when it will have a question of when it will have a stoppage? I don't know that I can agree with that. Well-maintained 1911 is going to be very, very reliable. I'm trying to think of the 1911s I own. I'm sure I've had a stoppage or two here or there, but not frequently enough that one comes to mind that I can say this or that one is a problem firearm. I've probably had as many malfunctions of one type or another with all kinds of other firearms. So I think the 1911s are very reliable. Live in Pennsylvania, used a Glock for the qualification drill. No, I did not use a Glock for that one. So you have to wait and see what the firearm is for that. And oops, I took another big jump. Looks like you attracted your first troll. I've made it. I'm important enough to have a troll. How about that? Buffalo boar may jump the crimp with snubbies. And I've never shot any buffalo boar. It may well, but of the ammo that I've used, I haven't had that problem. Let's see. And we got all kinds of strange things coming up here now. 1911s are designed for ball ammo. Most feeding problems are due to the ammo, especially higher quality 1911s. Yes, you're right. They were originally designed for ball ammo, but there's a lot of 1911s nowadays that will function with various types of hollow points. So, I mean, it's a design that's evolved over the years, and a lot of manufacturers and gunsmiths have figured out how to make them pretty reliable with about anything you want to shoot through them. Do I really need to stake the castle nut on an AR? I like to have the castle nut staked. If you try to do it some other way and get that thing to secure, sooner or later, if it gets hot enough or whatever, it might start to loosen up on you. But if you stake the thing, it's going to stay in place. People are scared their run on ammo is crazy. Yeah, I was talking about that a little while ago. I was at a firearms retailer earlier today here in my area, and normally they have tons and tons of ammo, and the shelves were looking a lot more bare than usual. Do you want a 70-year-old airline pilot? What? Oh, apparently that's not a comment for me. Our black has a lot of flintlock pistols and a bandolier, so that's cool. Hey, whatever gets you there. What's my view on Donald Trump? I like Donald Trump. I like the guy. That's my view on him. Don't mind my asking, how old did you turn on the 4th of July? 54. I turned 54 this past 4th of July. And skate for coffee. What's this? No. Andrew Peterman on the waiting list for M&P 45 2.0. I've got one of those, and I like it a lot. Nice pistol. Nice launch pad for the 45 ACP. And wow, we've been going at this for an hour and 15 minutes, so it's probably time to wrap it up for my first ever impromptu live stream. Again, I was just sitting at home bored by myself tonight, so I thought I would fire this up and just say hi to all of you. And this has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So maybe we'll do it again one of these days. But I hope all of you, wherever you are, enjoy joining in. And thank you again for watching the videos. The only reason these videos that I make go out is because of all of you. And it's such a privilege to have the interaction with all of you that I do, all of you here in Ohio, across the United States, around the world. It's just tremendous to be able to share this community that we have that's all around our enjoyment of firearms and our ability to use them in a way that we all enjoy. So thanks again for joining. I will be uploading more videos. In fact, I just finished working on one before I started the live stream. That's probably going to be next Saturday's video. And if you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to hit me up with those. And I'll see you next time. Until then, good shooting, everybody. Bye-bye.